Hey, y'all. Welcome back to the Champagne Wives podcast. I'm your host, Kelly.
And I'm your co-host, Nicole. Hey, gal.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good.
Good.
How are you?
Good. Can't complain.
Yeah.
How was your weekend?
It was good. I had a good weekend.
Mhm.
Saturday spent time, with kids and their like
Mhm.
sports. My daughter is trying another sport.
Mhm.
And so she had a game on Saturday and she won. And so that was really nice because that was the
Good.
first game that they actually won. So she's such a competitor. Like she's competitive. She likes to win.
Mhm.
Both of my kids, like they're really competitive. They get
Yeah.
crazy mad if they lose. And so they've been losing, but on Saturday they won. So she was happy. So I took her out to like buy her something to celebrate
Her win.
her way, positive reinforcement.
Yeah, I get it.
Positive reinforcement. Because I want her to know that, like, it's important. I don't just come down on her, like, when she does something wrong, but also that I celebrate her when she does something good and she wins. And she also was on the 8 honor roll, so that was good. I'm happy for her. So, and then Sunday we went to a football game. So the New Orleans Saints played the Texans here, and it's turned into like a really big, I guess, rivalry game. Because the cities are so close to one another. Right. And I mean, there's so many people here from Louisiana, Southeast, just every part of Louisiana. There's so many people here. Yeah. And then the cities are close enough where people can just drive in. So there was a lot of people that drove in, a lot of people that obviously already live here. So that was really fun. Southern's homecoming was this weekend.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, I heard there weren't that many people there this weekend because, a lot of people have probably traveled here to the game. And I did see some people like in the stadium from school. So I was like, oh, yeah, they're here. You are here. We show up and show out.
Y'all do.
Louisiana, we show up and show out. New Orleans, girl.
You had a moment. So this morning I woke up and I was looking at your stories and you were like, you had a moment of just like NOLA pride, baby.
I do, because it's in me. Like, some people don't like where they come from or are not like proud, or it's not a part of them. I feel like where I come from is such a part of me. Yeah. It's ingrained in me. Yeah. And whenever I'm around the culture, I do feel an incredible sense of pride to be a part of the culture and from the culture. And so just being at, the stadium on Sunday, and obviously I live in Houston, live, work, and play in Houston. Right. I am New Orleans all day. And I'll tell anybody that. So that's why I say it doesn't matter where I go, where I live. Like, I'm always going to carry where I'm from on my back because it's in me. Like, it runs deep. And you know that. You know this. I don't have to explain that to you, but you know
for
this.
the people.
For the people.
For the new people.
It runs deep. I mean, we get together. It's just a good ass fucking time.
It really is.
It's a good time.
I'm not even from there. And I'll be like, I'm having the time of my life.
My husband has completely adopted the culture.
Yeah, that's
like
funny.
He has. It's from day one that I took him home to Louisiana. Like he was just like Louisiana all day. He loves the food. He loves the culture. He loves the sports team. He is just. I mean, he's gonna be riding in Mardi Gras. Like he has just embraced the culture to like no end. So yeah, but it's a vibe.
Good. And I know like. My kids have had a chance, obviously, because, we spend time together. My kids have had a chance to go and experience Louisiana and New Orleans, and they've had a chance to do, what is it, second line, and they did that. And
do they love it?
They do. Beyond measure.
You told the story of your daughter doing the Tamia line dance at her junior high school, and being the only one
who knew it.
Yeah. I mean, that is Louisiana culture for you. Like it's just it's a vibe.
Pretty soon she'll be singing barroom songs that I don't know.
And she already does.
And what's the song? What's the song? The guy who's coming to town. The guy who's coming to town that you were singing on the bus. Not the bus, on the Sprinter.
Bill Downing.
Bill Downing.
He came to town, yeah.
She'll be singing Bill Downing.
She will be singing, yes, she will.
Yeah. No, my kids love the culture, love the food, love everything New Orleans, everything Louisiana. My daughter has already proclaimed that she's going to LSU, and I'm like, no problem, but let's at least put some other schools on the short list. So
yeah. I remember you before they actually came to Louisiana. You were saying like it's one of their Christmas gifts. They've been saying that they want to go to Louisiana. They want to go to Louisiana. So so she coordinated with me. She's like, okay, the next time you guys are going, we want to come.
Coordinated is a nice way to put it. Like I kind of stalked you. He's like, when are you going?
When are you going? We're
coming.
Is it okay?
Invited
we tag along, and I'm like, okay, where we go? I forgot when we actually went.
I know.
Was it for? Oh, it was for
4th of July in essence.
No, we went before for my sister's for my baby niece's
christening. Yes.
That was the first time for the christening.
Last year,
yes. And I was just like, okay,
yes,
I'm going this time, so we can go. And that was the first time. But yeah, they have been saying, I want to go to Louisiana. You made it happen
twice now.
You made it happen.
Now it's an annual tradition. And here we are. Here we are.
Oh, yeah. And they have to do Mardi Gras next year because it's going to be a thing because my husband's going to be in the parade, girl. Okay. So that is going to be like a whole weekend.
Okay.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday,
Tuesday. Get my mind right, my liver right.
Yeah. Get all
the
together.
Things right. Okay. Yes. All right. Well, shout out to Louisiana. I know we got a lot of people that watch and listen from Louisiana. Shout out to Louisiana. Whether you're east, west, north, south, shout out to the boot. Is it the boot? Okay.
There's the boot.
Look at me.
You got it.
So yeah, my weekend was not as eventful. I mean, I was a soccer mom through and through. Weather was amazing. Fall is finally here, at least for like 4 or 5 days. And I think summer comes back on Friday. Was able to just enjoy being outside, hanging with my kids. We did the nature trail, and that was a good time. It was just a nice little low-key weekend. Chores, cooked, soccer, little outdoors time. It's perfect.
It's perfect. And the weather was beautiful. I always talk about Houston when the weather is like extremely hot, but I want to give it the props that it deserves for the weather this weekend. The weather was gorgeous. Like we had a really great week, great weather this weekend.
We did. We did. Okay. So, y'all, thanks for running up last week's episode. That was a fun conversation. Not so fun, but fun in the sense that it was an honest and transparent conversation, and seems like y'all are resonating with the transparency and the honesty, and just like the relatability, I would say, around that. And we can't make this shit up.
No.
But we've been given some amazing fodder and content to talk about this week.
Yeah.
That really dovetails from last week's episode.
Yeah. That we had already been planned out.
Right.
Like it was already on the book, signed, sealed, and delivered. And the universe is doing what the universe does.
Providing
content. And examples for us.
Yes. So we have 2 pretty relevant examples, and we said we would talk about it today. So we have unconventional relationships. One on one side, one on the other. So one that has been loud and clear is the Will and Jada. I don't even know what to call it. I mean,
it's a marriage, according to Jada. It's a marriage.
According to the government as well. It's a legally binding union. So can you tell the people a little bit about what the hell's going on with Jada Pinkett-Smith, Alsina Shakur?
You stupid. Anyway, so just a brief synopsis, and I'm sure everybody is already aware of it, but she and Will Smith, who have been couple goals for at least 20 years.
Long time.
She has now come out and said that her and Will Smith have actually been separated within the marriage for 6 years?
Since 2016.
So, so for 7 years. I don't
Carry
know.
the one. I don't know.
My math is not the greatest.
Champagne on the brain.
Exactly. So they've been separated within this marriage since 2016. And so all the rumors, essentially, that everyone had been saying for years
open relationship
was true. The rumors about their open relationship has been true, apparently, because within this break, it was revealed that they have been allowed to go out and find their happiness, whatever that may be.
Right.
And so what they conceded on when they both decided to make this decision is that, the partnership and the commitment is there, and they both wanted to always be there.
Okay.
But in terms of just fulfillment, personal fulfillment and happiness, basically one person can't be everything. Go out and find that. But we are not getting a divorce. Exactly, at the end of the day. And so just a lot of conversation about like unconventional relationships. And, you know, people are entitled to operate in their marriage or relationships however they choose to. It's their business. And like you said last week, marriage is hard. It's really hard. And so I guess the conversation then becomes, and the question becomes, you know, how viable are unconventional type relationships? And is that something that maybe we are going towards as like a society? Just even in the single realm, like if you haven't been married, something completely opposite from Jada and Will's situation, and you're just, you know, you haven't been able to find the love of your life, but you have somebody who you consider as someone who would be a good partner. Do you just marry for the partnership and not worry about the romantic aspect of the relationship? So I don't know, a lot of questions to be asked.
Yeah. Well, and then
or answered.
To be answered, right? And then on the other side of it, right, you have Nene Leakes, whose interview, I don't know who she did it with, without which outlet she did it with, but she had a conversation, and it hasn't gotten as much airtime as, say, the Jada Pinkett-Smith, Alsina Shakur interview, because she's releasing a memoir, and PR people are going to do what PR people do, push.
Yeah.
But in Nene's conversation, she was asking the question to herself about whether she wanted to remarry. As you know, she's a widow. Her husband, Greg, passed away, I believe, maybe 2 years ago at this point. And she is dated, but she still remains single in the sense that she's not married. And so the question that she's asked herself is, as she gets older, should she be thinking about marrying for partnership / convenience, but more so for partnership, so that she has somebody that she can
rely on,
you know, emergency contact in the event, God forbid, something happens, that they can be called to make sure that her affairs are in order and taken care of. And you got two extremes, right? Where it's like, should I get married for the sake of getting married and have all the traditional kind of elements that come with, or the security, better said, that comes with marriage? Or should I get married and still have that security, but do whatever the fuck I want within that marriage?
Yeah. And I think that is more or less Will and Jada's situation. Again, marriage is extremely difficult, but I think that these are two people, if you listen to both of them tell their stories now through both of their books, they had just reached an impasse where they were just really both unhappy and searching for something else within the relationship. And that happens, you know, we're individuals. And we have our needs change, our desires change, our wants change. And, you know, she talked a lot about, like, you know, this idea of what she wanted in a partner, and Will not necessarily living up to that, which made her essentially unhappy. And so, you know, they decided to, you know, come up with this arrangement, you know, obviously have an open relationship, because that's what it is. But now, like, it seems like because of all of the, you know, pushback and the comments that are being made online, like, she is walking that back. And so now the question is towards Jada, like, are you guys going to make this official? Because now she's having a conversation about, like, you know, we eventually will come back together and operate as like a married couple in this union. That's the goal. That's the plan. That's what we're working towards, right? So it's been like 7 years of self-discovery. And then now it's, okay, we are working to kind of put ourselves back together. We're both still healing and doing some deep level of work. But it's giving... I don't want him, but I don't want anybody else to have him.
It's absolutely giving that, because Look at the level of insanity that he has displayed on the like during this 7-year transit. I'm glad we figured the math out, but 7-year transition, right?
Yeah.
He has been he's been a meme at the red table because of the situationship.
Mm-hmm.
He went up at the Oscars and slapped Chris Rock on the face, looking crazy. Like it's one thing, you could say he looked crazy. You could say he looked like he was defending his wife, but does she view herself as your wife, Will?
Yeah.
These are the questions that I have. Like, as this is happening, and she said she thought it was a skit.
Yeah.
Right. So in her mind, I mean, when you think that that's a skit versus like, that's my husband coming to my defense, you're obviously more apart than you are together.
Yeah, you're detached.
And they weren't even sitting at the same table.
But they've been showing up to appearances together. As a family for the nobody would have known it.
You would have if you look at some of the footage though, like now that we know what we know, how many times Will would try to like get up in her face, give her a kiss, and like her body language was always like a curve.
Oh, really?
Always a curve. I wish I found this. I wish I saved this montage. Yeah. But it was always a curve. Every time he would come up here to like give her a kiss, be like in her circle, her, safety circle, she was always moving.
Yeah. Interesting. I didn't see that.
Yeah. But this reeks of rich people problems because for those that aren't in that tax bracket, try bringing. There are some people who are on the outside who are a little bit more open, right, to the concept. But try bringing an open marriage relationship concept to most marriages today.
I think it happens more often than not, honestly. I think that sometimes to go through a divorce is a lot. It's a process, you know? And I think that the concept has been happening for a while. I think the rich people part comes in where they have they're talking about it on like these major platforms. They're having book deals and like they're divulging all of it in their memoirs or whatever the case may be. But I feel like it's been something that has been going on for forever, ages. Look at the stories of like people grandpas and they had like a family over here, a family over there, a family over there. Right. Like we're now putting like a name and a face to it. Yeah. But it's been happening.
It's the social acceptance for me. Yeah. That is like that hasn't always been
socially accepted. Oh,
that hasn't always been there.
That
right? Like where you can actually speak about it to your point on these major platforms or put it in a book and we're going to talk about it, but we're also not like clutching our pearls at the same time. But yeah, this reeks of rich people problems. This reeks of I want to have my cake and eat it too. This reeks of exactly what you said.
I don't say that would be. What? I don't want to say best case scenario, but it's like it's kind of like going back to the polyamory episode.
I went back to that moment where you asked me that question.
It's like, you have the security and the safety and the stability of a partnership / marriage where you have a person that you can put as your emergency contact on like your hospital forms or at work. But you also have the freedom to go out and explore and do things that truly make you happy without having to be secretive or hide or fearful of hurting or disappointing the other person.
Yeah. The other thing that I think gets underestimated is that you have the ability to not live like... when you're married and you have kids and you're going through the routine and you're doing all the things, the routine tends to be the thing that just literally kills the relationship. Yeah. It takes the excitement out of the relationship, the spontaneity out of the relationship. But when you're in a relationship, let's just say, right, where you have somebody who you can just go on dates with, live life with, experience life with, and not have to worry about,
the routine.
Who's running the kids here? Yeah. Who's on first? Who's on second? There's something incredibly... That's like an aphrodisiac to a lot of people. And it really is the best of both worlds.
It is.
It is the best of both worlds. but it's not reality.
It's not realistic.
Yeah.
And it's I'll say too, from experience, like it is the best thing to be able to connect with your partner. Like my kids go to my mom's, their grandparents, for a couple of months throughout the summer, for the summer. And me and my husband have the best time.
Yeah.
Like we're traveling, we just going out to eat. It's no pressure, no stress to get up early. I mean, unless I got to work out, but that's something for me. I don't have to come back and rush to get the kids. If we want to like watch a movie, we can watch a movie. The house stays pretty much clean because it's just the two of us. I can cook healthy meals and not have to worry about like whether or not the kids have eaten. They're just it's a level of stress that is essentially removed and that and allows for you and the person that you're with to reconnect.
Yeah.
And it is a good feeling. And I think that's the beauty of marriage, right? Like spending your life together, having somebody to go through the trenches with, raise a family. And on the other side of that, to have raised beautiful, contributing members to society, successful children, and then you and your husband really being able to come back together again and just kind of like live out the rest of your lives together as empty nesters. But in the meantime, you know, she said, I made a mention to having an expectation. She had an expectation of what she wanted him to be that wasn't being met. And you have to make yourself happy in a marriage. And that's why we constantly talking about like doing our own individual work and therapy or whatever the case may be to make sure that we are healed. And so that, you know, me in particular, I'm not looking for my husband to make me happy.
Or to be
I'm not relying on him to make me happy.
Yeah.
I want to be happy just by myself with who I am. You know what I mean? And so you know, there is a level of expectation, I think, after you've been together for a while, that you just really let go of and you just allow a person to be who they are and love them for that. And I think there are ways to work on your own happiness without opening up your marriage. There are things you can do.
I agree.
To do that.
I agree. And I think Jada's comment is unfair to Will because she had an expectation of him to be something to her that probably didn't necessarily align with who he is. So it's really about, to your point, like loving your partner for who they are and what they bring to the table, what they don't bring to the table, and figuring out how you close those gaps. But more importantly, loving your partner for who they are. And you know, I know she said she's a modern day urban nun, I think is how she's referring to herself now. Like she's a born again virgin, not drinking, not going out, not doing any of that. And I'm hopeful that she's doing the work to understand that, like, hey, it's not your job you're not your husband's job to be your everything. It's his job to be himself, and it's your job to be yourself. And it's your job to make sure that you guys have come together to, whether it's to make a family, to raise these kids, but that you guys come together as two complete people to be able to do the best for your kids and for each other. But he's not there to like complete you.
To complete her,
Right. So I think that that's an unfair level of responsibility that she's put on him because it's her job to make sure that her cup is full. It's his job to make sure his cup is full. And then they come together and they runneth over.
Exactly. Exactly. And people are saying, though, that like you can tell like there was something there because of the way that their kids turned out. Like they are just
people.
They're very different from his first wife, like the kid that he has with his first wife, which is really eclectic and just I don't know much about them, but I mean you can tell that there's a difference between like the last two, Willow and Jaden, in the first.
Forgot
the
his
first
name. What's
Will.
Will. Okay.
Yeah. So I mean I don't know. I don't have the answers. Like I said, marriage is difficult. People should do what works for them. But I think as we talk more about like just the notion in all circumstances, in any situation, being a widow, maybe you're single in your 40s and 50s, have never been married, and then you have a situation like Will and Jada where you guys are married and you really want to stay together, but you don't necessarily want to do the work to be happy in the relationship, then is, marrying for partnership a viable option?
Yeah.
At that point.
Whew. So it was marrying for for her, it was marrying for partnership, but having the open relationship at the same time.
For him? For her?
For Nene, she was like, she thought about it, but then she realized, she's like, look, I'm not that person.
Asking you, like, would you, like, is that like a viable, sustainable arrangement? I mean.
So I think I'm not going to lie. I've been at a point where I thought about it and then realized, snap out of it. I was like, first of all, you. Yeah. You're a Taurus. That shit ain't gonna work. Yeah. You way too possessive when it comes to things that you cherish and value. And I know I gotta work on that. But like, I couldn't. Yeah. I couldn't. And to marry for partnership, just for all the reasons that she stated, I don't think I would do that either. Because I really do believe in the pursuit of happiness and to really we talk about chasing and living your wildest dream. And life is but a dream. Like these things replay in my head delusionally, constantly.
The Delulu.
Stay in Delulu. Right. But I couldn't do it. Yeah. I would rather really invest in personal relationships and friendships and do what Nene ultimately ended up doing, which was like putting her friend's name kind of as her emergency contact, power of attorney, God forbid. And then if that changes, it changes. Yeah. But I don't feel compelled to settle when it comes to that, and to be married for the sake of being married, or be married and kind of spit in the face of the covenant by, intentionally having the marriage open. Yeah. So I wouldn't. Yeah. And I just, especially if you look good, child, and he does what he needs to do. Yeah. Like, I'm a share.
I could imagine that being very, just speaking from a married perspective, I'm very territorial, child. Right. Like, I am cray. Some would say.
Fuck around, find out.
Don't play with me. Right. Do not play with me. I'm telling you right now, do not play with me. I'd rather the best of both worlds. And for me, as like a married woman, the best of both worlds is, yes, having the partnership and having the stability of having and the security of having someone that I can trust and lean on, but also doing the work to keep the romantic piece alive as well. And that's the hard part. The easy part is the business, like the business arrangement,
the transactional
part. Right. And that's easy, but it's hard work. But I like to think that at the end of the day, it's all worth it, and not even just for the sake of the relationship, but for the sake of like me individually, like personally. There's so much growth that can happen on a personal level. If you do stick in it and do the work to make all the things happen that you desire to happen in your relationship.
It's so fulfilling. And I can personally tell you that like I am looking forward to the opportunity of doing that potentially the second time around. I am.
Second time around. I always got an old school bop. I can't help myself.
I really do. And I think that, there's a phrase that you've used before behind the mics, but even off mic, where you've talked about staying power, right? And being able to, acknowledge somebody who has some staying power is something that I'm looking forward to. And I think, we go back to the fact that relationships are hard. We go back to the fact that marriage is even harder. And to stay in a marriage is
even harder.
It's the hardest of hards. And, more people are on my side of the fence than they are on your side of the fence. But yeah, to have the success story, and to know that like, hey, ups, downs, highs, lows, We stuck this
We
thing
locked
out.
in.
We locked in. Great. Even if like there were some moments of incompatibility, we figured out how to get compatible or how to meet each other where we were. And that's not always the story for everybody. So like, I know that like, I'm talking about what would be ideal, but I get that firsthand, that's not the story for everybody. And like, sometimes you just reach an impasse, child.
Yeah.
And you got to do what you got to do. And that's okay.
That's okay.
That's okay. As long as you're learning, as long as you're processing, you're doing the reflection, you're doing the work within yourself to make sure that what maybe brought you down the first time doesn't bring you down again.
Yeah.
Listen, you can still cross the finish line and get a ribbon or get a medal. So please don't think that like this, if this conversation,
raise healthy children, productive children.
Yeah, there's still a win, even if it looks different. I really do believe in that, and I'm living that. Trust me. So for those that that resonate with that, perfect.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think what Will and Jada have done, I could not do.
Mm-hmm.
I could not do. And if I were a man and I were Will, I don't know if I could weather all the things that he weathered.
Yeah.
And it was interesting because in this interview that Jada did with Jay Shetty, who really dope podcaster, she said that she views divorce as quitting.
Mm. Who said that?
Jada. She views divorce as quitting.
Girl, stop.
And I said, I know.
Her and what she be talking about, like, don't get me started, because Machine Gun Kelly is is getting ready to cut, because she's like, even on the Red Table Talk, this is what I don't like. Mm-hmm. Like, you had your situation, but don't be parading around like you all got it going on and your shit together and you're so healed. And you know what I mean?
Ain't no way.
It was just such a deception to everybody. Especially being that she was at this red table. Like, wasn't all that about healing and this, and then she brought Will to the red table to talk about
he became a home meme.
Exactly.
A home meme.
To talk about the entanglement with
August.
Like, what are we doing here?
Don't let these people fool you.
Don't. Okay, go ahead.
That's the only thing we can say. Do not let these people fool you.
So what she said is not...
She said she views divorce as quitting.
That is foolish.
And that Will is the mirror. And Will does not let her get around herself. And she doesn't let Will get around himself.
Girl.
And I said, well, ain't that about a bitch? Because what do you mean?
Girl,
this man has been the face of insanity for almost the last year.
Full stop.
The slap heard around the world.
Full stop. It's been 7 years, sister.
Don't let these people fool you.
You guys are divorced. Mm-hmm. Let's be clear.
Let's be clear. Just file the paperwork. But what we know is that when
lucky that Will, I don't know if he got loose. I don't know what it is with him. Like, why he's in this state of accepting this treatment, whatever the case may be, in the current relationship that he's in. Like, I don't know how he agreed to that or she agreed. I don't know.
Yeah.
But again, the conversations that have been circulating online and the lead up to all this new news is that right now, just based off of all of that, it just seems like somebody wants their cake and want to eat it too. Like, I don't really want you, but I don't want anyone else to have you.
Yeah, no. Everybody's having them.
Well, that too.
But I get it. When you're rich.
But not in the same way. Like, you having someone intimately and sexually is different than having them. Like, he has responsibility towards her.
Yeah.
That is her husband. Like, he has responsibility to her well-being, her household.
Yeah.
Just her in general. He's accountable for her. And that is worth way more than just some sexual encounter, child.
I suppose. I mean, I don't suppose. You're right. You're right.
So you disagree?
No. You're right.
Can you imagine? It brings me back to that song back in the day. He's mine, you mean I had him once, but I got him all the time. Yeah. Like, seriously, like.
Moral of the story. Don't let these people fool you.
Don't let the people fool you. Don't let them fool you.
Have your marriage, have your relationship.
Yeah.
Establish boundaries, communicate those boundaries, work on yourself.
Both parties.
if you don't feel like you're being treated and or respected the way that you feel like you should be treated and respected, then do what you need to do.
Yeah.
But don't let anyone have you in these streets looking like a fool. Don't be Will Smith.
Or Jada Pinkett.
Or Jada Pinkett.
He may have just have his shit under wraps more.
NDAs all around.
All around.
Probably.
All around us, child. All around us. Because
you get an NDA.
Exactly.
You get an NDA.
He ain't no angel. He
right.
ain't no angel, child.
Probably not. All right. So we got in late, so we got to end now. No time for a what's poppin', unless you had one that's real quick.
I really don't. Like,
I think
either.
I think this was a what's poppin'.
This was a big what's poppin' for the week. So
yeah.
I'm okay to end it here.
Okay. Well, listen, you know where to follow us, Champagne Wives. Instagram, the TikToks, the YouTubes, email, champagnewives@gmail.com. Thank y'all for tuning in, checking in. You know we love y'all, and we'll be back next week. Bye.
Same time, same place. Bye, y'all.